Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, hello. Excuse me. Tired. Yarn, thank you for the 95 stream streak. Thank you. And Funny Bucket, thank you for the 45 stream streak. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Yeah. Well, okay. Hold on. I spam wars are very super retromancer. Today, that's right. We're doing some more reading from a past incentive. We're gonna do more Grimm Fairy Tales. I have my big chunky book here with all of them in it. And yeah, I haven't really planned out what we're gonna read. I really want to read Hansel and Gretel, so we'll probably do that. And other than that, maybe we'll just pick out some that sound good and make our way down the list or something. I don't know. It's probably gonna be a slightly shorter stream today, just because I don't really want to read for 5 hours. Usually the reading streams are like, what, like 3 hours long? So we'll just aim for that and see where my mood takes us, really, if we want to play something after or just end a little early. I really enjoyed Hightail yesterday. I really enjoyed Hightail yesterday. I've been wanting to play all morning, but I've not had the time. I was finishing up a commission this morning for my VGen. Thank you very much for commissioning me. And then, you know, I was doing my exercise. I played a bit of Balatro during that, and then it was already time to stream. I've been here 11 months and I just found out we read. Well, it's like a recent development over the last 3 months or so. But thank you for the 11-month resub, Swaniel. Thank you. No, we've been doing it a little bit over November and December for incentives and stuff, and people have been really enjoying it, so we kept doing it. Yeah, just occasionally. Excuse me. Last night I didn't even end up playing Monster. I was too tired. I actually spent some time after stream recording for my cover. Big mistake. Never going to record after my stream ever again because I was so tired I couldn't do anything. I was just sitting in my chair like waiting for it to be time to go to sleep pretty much. I was so exhausted. So yeah, not even Monster Hunter last night, just a whole bunch of nothing. But it's okay. Maybe the takes that I took are good enough for the cover. We'll see. Did you figure that one out? So yeah, I've not really been up too much since we last spoke yesterday. I've just been very tired. Yeah. Sometimes you just need a little nothing. Yeah. I need more of nothing, I think. But that's why I took the weekend off. Catch up on a little bit of relaxing. And some more art stuff. I'm still running a bit of a sale on my VGen for anyone interested. Yeah. Do you have anything else to talk about? I wish I had more to say. I always feel so bad when I have nothing to yap about. But yeah, things have not been very interesting since yesterday. I saw Oreo this morning, and that was good. Honestly, he was the only reason I even got out of bed. Because he was meow meow meowing at my window, and then I played with him for like 15 minutes or so. And then I had to kick him out because he kept playing with the Christmas tree. I haven't taken it down yet. But yeah, that was pretty much the highlight of my day so far, was seeing Oreo and petting him and snuggling him a little bit. Christmas in January, that's right! Christmas is technically till, what did I say, January 11th? January 12th? So I'm not that late taking down my Christmas stuff. Thank you, Oreo, for giving us an on-time stream. Well, honestly, I probably would have just gotten up later and not work on my commission this morning. So if anything, Ormond should be thanking Oreo for me finishing my commission. I'm making food with my family tomorrow. Pic's coming. Oh, hell yeah. I'm looking forward to it, man. Here, let me show you the art I finished. It's already on my socials. You can check it out there, but I finished the art for Ormond. This one. Oh my god. Way too high resolution. Okay. I think it came out pretty nice. I have like this version with like the lighting effects, but then I also have a simpler version with just the outline. And I think it came out pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with this. I hope Ormond likes it as well. Definitely think this has been one of my better pieces. Maybe a bit too much noise on it, but I sent him the Photoshop file so he can tinker with it himself a bit, but I think there's been a lot of noticeable improvement in your art. I mean, over the years for sure. Let me scroll down on my VGen. What's the first art I had up on my VGen? It was a Hi-Fi Rush thumbnail. I mean, sure. It's kind of low effort, but do I have anything else? I guess I can go to my old art account. Let's see. Let me just scroll down on this art account and see what I can find. Okay. I always show this. This is my first art that I posted of Moriko. And I still draw Moriko occasionally just to compare my art, because I used to draw her so much. So this was my first Moriko art. And then I just drew her like last week, I think. So let me go grab that. The Moriko skin? Yeah. This is my most recent Moriko art. I mean, it's less, I don't know, I mean, it's less detailed, but I think it's, like, better in contrast and shape. Let's see. The biggest Moriko fan? I think this art of Irie was actually also a very nice show of, my art has changed, maybe even more so than the last Moriko picture, because this is like more cleaner line art. It's a bear drawing I drew recently. Oh, sorry, I made it go away by accident. But like, I used to try to do like more of a painted style. And then at some point I just changed it to be like really dark line art. Here, I have a Kieran. What's my most recent Kieran? Do I have a recent Kieran? Oh god, I don't think I have a recent Kieran, guys. There! Kieran from October. I mean, compare these two. Isn't that crazy? This Moriko art was like the first one I was like super proud of. kind of a weird aspect ratio. I remember I was really proud of that whenever I drew it. So yeah, I've been at this for a few years now. When did I post my first Moriko? My first Moriko I posted in November 2022. That was when I posted my first Moriko. When did you guys post your first Moriko? So yeah. I don't know, I'm pretty proud. I think my art has gotten quite a bit better. Although I still haven't really studied seriously. I've mostly just been drawing for fun. Still quite happy with this Anakin. Even though it was quite messy. And then obviously I've been doing the odd commission here and there, and this fucking emote! I drew it way too well for what it is. I also quite like how my Glorp emote for Soot came out. Oh, I cancelled the edit. Well, there you go. There's some of my art. But yeah, I've been at it for a little bit. I think what really pushed my art to be better is just getting better at colors. My form has gotten a little bit better, but my colors really carry most of my drawings, honestly. I feel. I think, like, good coloring is just much more important than good form. I don't know if people agree, but that's how I feel. I think either can stand on its own. Of course, of course. I suppose that's true. Anyway, I kind of gave up on trying to learn how to paint. I've definitely have tried to sort of reintroduce it to my drawings, but I kind of just like the dark, thick lines a lot. To be honest. I've grown to love it too much. I can't live without it now. I studied the Darkest Dungeon art style once, and now I can't go back. I should study that a bit more. I think it has like a nice mix of the cell shading, but it also does like watercolor-esque coloring. You know what? I could really go for some Darkest Dungeon again. Maybe I'll play a little bit of that off stream. Ah, I've got too much to do. Darkest Dungeon is really fun. I remember playing that on stream, and I had a cultist that I named after our mod Zero, and Zero did not like to heal at all. He would always roll really low. It was horrible. Okay. I feel like I should start maybe preparing some topics. Do you guys want a spoiler for the next cover? Do you guys want to see the art for the next cover? I'm hoping I'll be able to do it. I mean, again, I recorded yesterday, and how bad could it possibly be? I commissioned my favorite skib artist again. So high res! I think it came out so nice. It's so different from their usual style, but I actually really like how it came out. I really like how moody it is. It's very nice. So, very excited for this next cover. I hope it comes out okay. I still always doubt whether or not I'll be able to do covers, so I don't like to talk about them in advance, but yeah. Hi Myra in chat. Another student called me daddy. I desire not existence. I'm sure it was just by accident, right? A model in that style would be beautiful. It would be very different, yeah. Something a bit more saturated, but it was not. Uh-oh. Oh, I think I may have miscalculated the age range of your students. And then you're like a surfing board because I'm floating on the water. Oh my god. But yeah, there you go. That's what I'm working on now, is my next cover. I also commissioned Nerve for the video because this cover was sponsored over my throne. So I had a bit of a budget to use on it, thankfully. So thank you again, Aki, for being so kind. I doubt she's here right now, but this was sponsored by Orange is Borange on my throne. Thank you very much. You're out here making more bagger MVs. Yeah, I mean, I will sometimes still make my own, but if I want something like really fancy or something recreated, I'll just continue commissioning her because she's amazing. I'm very satisfied working with her. She does amazing work. Amazing work. For my next two covers, if everything goes the way I planned it, I probably will make the videos myself though. Just because one of them is gonna be pretty simple and the other is gonna be like with MS Paint art. So, yeah. I'll just edit those myself. Mr. Oddity, hi! Troubles, thank you so much for the 5-stream streak. Thank you. I'll have to message Aki again and let her know how the cover is going. I think that's the least I could do given she's funded it. But yeah. In case you guys missed my post, by the way, for any Xenoblade heads, I am thinking January 31st for the first stream of Xenoblade 3. That'll be on a Saturday. So I hope you guys can make it. I figured doing it on a Saturday would mean that most people, or I don't know, more people should be able to make it. But I know it's also kind of early for people in the US, so but yeah. I'm very excited to play it. I was considering putting it off, but ever since we finished Torna, I've actually been really itching to play it more, so we're just gonna jump into it sooner rather than later. Hi, Voluptuous. Hello, hello. Yeah. I threatened my boss to give me an early shift to make it. Oh my god. We're used to it 5 AM streaming, Myra. Hey, at least you have something to watch for when you get up for work, right? What if this reading stream puts me to sleep? Should we all take like a little group nap? Ugh, I don't know anything about 3, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if Rex is in it. Okay, then night. Sure, I'll sleep through the next 4 hours of work. What if you just listen to me snoring, then? I'm a bit of a snorer and a little bit of a sleep talker. If we're lucky, maybe I'll sleep talk the Grimm stories. She said her full name and socials in her sleep. Oh god. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past me. Up on VC so everyone can snore on stream. Okay. Oh my god, I actually might. I actually just might. Okay. I've got I've got the fireplace up. I should make like a little book asset that I can hold for maximum immersion, eh? Okay, I'm gonna wrap a blanket around me. Ugh. What if I just like whip out this? Alright. Good night, everyone! If only. Only missing a nightcap? I don't know if I have a nightcap. I do! I do have a nightcap! No, I'll have to take out the normal hat. I haven't had a coffee yet. I did make one, but I haven't drank much of it yet. Real EP core. Should I put on like music box lullabies in the background? Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. That seems dangerous, please no. Stonking, thank you for the 35 stream streak. Thank you, thank you. Have we read the story about the golden goose yet? I don't think so, right? 248. Maybe we'll start with the golden goose. Okay. So this is from my brother's Grimm Fairy Tales book. So these are all written by the Brothers Grimm. And if you haven't been here for the first reading stream, for some reason they love ending their story with people getting eaten and then surgically removed. Eaten alive, surgically removed, they're still alive. And then they stuff the villains' tummies with rocks for some reason. So hopefully this doesn't happen with the Golden Goose story. Maybe it'll happen for Hansel and Gretel, but I don't think so. I think they just kick the witch into the fire, right? Sorry, I'm spoiling it, but... Alright, are we all comfy, nestled up, ready to go? Does anyone need anything? Does anyone need a little, need to be tucked into bed and given a little smooch? And then everyone had their fingers cut off, the end. Exactly. Alright. The Golden Goose. There was a man who had 3 sons, the youngest of whom was called Dummling. Dummling? That just means stupid. Stupidling. Was despised, mocked, and put down on every occasion. It happened that the eldest wanted to go into the forest to hew wood, and before he went, his mother gave him a beautiful sweet cake and a bottle of wine, so that he might not suffer from hunger or thirst. When he entered the forest, he met a little gray-haired old man who bade him good day and said, "Do give me a piece of cake out of your pocket, and let me have a drink of your wine. I am so hungry and thirsty." But the prudent youth answered, "If I give you my cake and wine, I shall have none for myself. Be off with you." And he left the little man standing and went on. But when he began to hew down a tree, it was not long before he made a false stroke, and the axe cut him in the arm, so that he had to go home and have it bound up. And this was the little gray man's doing. After this, the second son went into the forest, and his mother gave him, like the eldest, a cake and a bottle of wine. The little old gray man met him likewise, and asked him for a piece of cake and a drink of wine. But the second son, too, said with much reason, "What I give you will be taken away from myself. Be off." And he left the little man standing and went on. His punishment, however, was not delayed. When he had made a few strokes at the tree, he struck himself in the leg. When he had made a few strokes at the tree, he struck himself in the leg, so that he had to be carried home. Then Dummling said, "Father, do let me go and cut wood." The father answered, "Your brothers have hurt themselves by it. Leave it alone. You do not understand anything about it." But Dummling begged so long that at last he said, "Just go on then. You will get wiser by hurting yourself." His mother gave him a cake made with water and baked in the cinders, and with it a bottle of sour beer. When he came to the forest, the little gray man met him likewise, and greeting him said, "Give me a piece of your cake and a drink of your bottle. I am so hungry and thirsty." Dummling answered, "I only have cinder cake and sour beer. If that pleases you, we will sit down and eat." So they sat down. And when Dummling pulled out his cinder cake, it was a fine sweet cake, and the sour beer had become good wine. So they ate and drank, and after that the little man said, "Since you have a good heart, and are willing to divide what you have, I will give you good luck. There stands an old tree, cut it down, and you will find something at the roots." Then the little man took leave of him. I would love all these readings turned into a video. Well, the VODs are available on my channel. I actually made a little playlist there this morning for all of our reading streams, if you want to go back and watch them. It's just on my main YouTube channel. Dummling went and cut down the tree, and when it fell, there was a goose sitting in the roots with feathers of pure gold. He lifted her up, and taking her with him, went to an inn where he thought he would stay the night. Now the host had 3 daughters who saw the goose and were curious to know what wonderful kind of bird it might be, and would have liked to have one of its golden feathers. The eldest thought, "I shall soon find an opportunity of pulling out a feather," and as soon as Dummling had gone out, she seized the goose by the wing, but her finger and hand remained sticking fast to it. The second came soon afterwards, thinking only of how she might get a feather for herself, but she had scarcely touched her sister than she was held fast. At last the third also came with the same intent, and the others screamed out, "Keep away, for goodness sake, keep away!" But she did not understand why she was to keep away. "The others are there," she thought. "I may as well be there too," and ran to them. But as soon as she had touched her sister, she remained sticking fast to her. So they had to spend the night with the goose. The next morning, Dummling took the goose under his arm and set out, without troubling himself about the 3 girls who were hanging on to it. They were obliged to run after him continually, now left, now right, just as he was inclined to go. In the middle of the fields, the parson met them, and when he saw the procession, he said, "For shame, you good-for-nothing girls! Why are you running across the field after this young man? Is he that seemly?" At the same time, he seized the youngest by the hand in order to pull her away, but as soon as he touched her, he likewise stuck fast, and was himself obliged to run behind. Before long, the sexton came by, and saw his master, the parson, running behind 3 girls. He was astonished at this, and called out, "Ho, your reverence! Where do you go so quickly? Do not forget that we have a christening today. And running after him, he took him by the sleeve, but was also held fast to it. While the 5 were trotting one behind the other, 2 labourers came with their hoes from the fields. The parson called out to them and begged that they would set him and the sexton free. But they had scarcely touched the sexton when they were held fast, and now there were 7 of them running behind Dummling and the goose. Soon afterwards he came to a city where a king ruled who had a daughter who was so serious that no one could make her laugh. So he had put forth a decree that whoever should be able to make her laugh should marry her. When Dummling heard this, he went with his goose and all her train before the king's daughter, and as soon as she saw the 7 people running on and on, one behind the other, she began to laugh quite loudly, and as if she would never leave off. Upon this, Dummling asked to have her for his wife, and the wedding was celebrated. After the king's death, Dummling inherited the kingdom and lived a long time contentedly with his wife. The end. Huh? Okay, well, the moral of the story, don't try to take what isn't yours and be generous, or you will injure yourself and become a laughingstock. Sharing is good, I guess. Wasn't there something about the golden goose laying golden eggs or something, or was that someone else's work? Always fasten your seatbelt. Women love a guy who can make them laugh. This is true. What an odd... Why do some of the stories end so strangely and so abruptly? There's one called The Godfather in here. I didn't know Brothers Grimm wrote a mafia drama. We gotta read that? Okay, I'll read The Godfather. Page 150. Still haven't seen The Godfather. It's on the list, but I feel like that requires, like, all my focus. Oh, I didn't even watch a movie last night either. I was so tired. Okay, this story already opens up with a banger. It's a short one, but there is, I guess, a follow-up story to this. Okay, The Godfather. Brothers Grimm's Yakuza, yeah. A poor man had so many children that he had already asked everyone in the world to be godfather. And when still another child was born, no one else was left whom he could invite. He knew not what to do, and in his perplexity he lay down and fell asleep. Then he dreamed that he was to go outside the gate and ask the first person who met him to be godfather. When he awoke, he was determined to obey his dream, and went outside the gate and asked the first person who came up to him to be godfather. Damn, bro, stop having kids! I know, right? Maybe at that point you should reconsider. The stranger presented him with a little glass of water and said, "This is a wonderful water. With it you can heal the sick. Only you must see where death is standing. If he is standing by the patient's head, give the patient some of the water and he will be healed. But if death is standing by his feet, all trouble will be in vain, for the sick man must die." From this time forth, the man could always say whether a patient could be saved or not, and became famous for his skill and earned a great deal of money. Once he was called in to the child of the king, and when he entered, he saw death standing by the child's head and cured it with the water. And he did the same a second time. But the third time death was standing by its feet, and then he knew the child was meant to die. Once the man thought he would visit the godfather and tell him how he had succeeded with the water. But when he entered the house, it was such a strange establishment. On the first flight of stairs, the broom and shovel were disputing and knocking each other about violently. He asked them, "Where does the godfather live?" The broom replied, "1 flight of stairs higher up." When he came to the second flight, he saw a heap of dead fingers lying. He asked, "Where does the godfather live?" One of the fingers replied, "1 flight of stairs higher." On the third flight lay a heap of dead skulls, which again directed him to the flight beyond. On the fourth flight he saw fishes on the fire, which frizzled in the pans and baked themselves. They too said, "1 flight of stairs higher." And when he had ascended the fifth, he came to the door of a room and peeped through the keyhole, and there he saw the godfather, who had a pair of long horns. When he opened the door and went in, the godfather got into bed in a great hurry and covered himself up. Then said the man, "Sir Godfather, what a strange household you have. When I came to your first flight of stairs, the shovel and broom were quarreling and beating each other violently." "How stupid you are," said the godfather. "That was the boy and the maid talking to each other. But on the second flight I saw dead fingers lying. Oh, how silly you are. Those were some roots of scorzonera. On the third flight lay a heap of dead men's skulls. Foolish man, those were cabbages. On the fourth flight I saw fishes in a pan, which were hissing and baking themselves." When he had said that, the fishes came and served themselves up. And when I got to the fifth flight, I peeped through the keyhole of a door, and there, godfather, I saw you, and you had long, long horns. "Oh, that is a lie." The man became alarmed and ran out, and if he had not, who knows what the godfather would have done to him. The end. Good one, streamer. I know! These are so strange. There is another story called Godfather Death. And I don't know if this is related or if they just have the same theming. So we could try reading that if you guys want to. Okay, here you go. Godfather Death. It's just a page further. So I don't know if they're related or not. I would assume not, but who knows? Maybe they just really like writing about godfathers. Rex, thank you so much for the 75 stream streak. And Ahmed, thank you for the 455. Thank you. Okay. Godfather Death. A poor man had 12 children and was forced to work night and day to provide them even with bread. Would you really call that last thing about godfathers? Would you call it about anything? Not really. I'm not sure if these short stories make sense, most of them. Okay. A poor man had 12 children and was forced to work night and day to provide them even with bread. When therefore the 13th came into the world, he knew not what to do in his trouble, but ran out into the great highway and resolved to ask the first person whom he met to be godfather. Maybe it's like a spin-off. Like a director's cut of the first story. The first to meet him was the poor god, who already knew what troubled him, and said to him, "Sure, whatever. Poor man, I pity you. I will hold your child at its christening, and will take charge of it and make it happy on earth." The man said, "Who are you?" "I am God." Then I do not desire to have you for a godfather," said the man. "You give to the rich and leave the poor to hunger." Hunger. Jesus. Thus spoke the man, for he did not know how wisely God apportions riches and poverty. He turned therefore away from the Lord and went farther. Then the devil came to him and said, "What do you seek? If you will take me as a godfather for your child, I will give him gold in plenty and all the joys of the world as well." The man asked, "Who are you?" "I am the devil." "Then I do not desire to have you for godfather," said the man. "You deceive men and lead them astray." He went onwards, and then came Death, striding up to him with withered legs, and said, "Take me as godfather." The man asked, "Who are you?" "I am Death, and I make all equal." Then said the man, "You are the right one. You take the rich as well as the poor, without distinction. You shall be godfather." Death answered, "I will make your child rich and famous, for he who has me for a friend can lack nothing." The man said, "Next Sunday is the christening. Be there at the right time." Death appeared as he had promised, and stood Godfather quite in the usual way. Dude, everyone at church must have gone fucking insane. When the boy had grown up, his godfather one day appeared and bade him to go with him. He led him forth into a forest and showed him an herb which grew there and said, "Now you shall receive your godfather's present. I make you a celebrated physician. When you are called to a patient, I will always appear to you. If I stand by the head of the sick man, you must say with confidence that you will make him well again. And if you give him this herb, he will recover. But if I stand by the patient's feet, he is mine, and you must say that all remedies are in vain, and that no physician in the world could save him. But beware of using the herb against my will, or it might fare badly for you." This is actually the extended director's cut of the previous story, I think. It was not long before the youth was the most famous physician in the whole world. People said of him, he had only to look at the patient and he knew his condition at once, and if he would recover or must die. From far and wide people came to him, sent for him when they had anyone ill, and gave him so much money that he soon became a rich man. Now it so happened that the king became ill, and the physician was summoned, and it was to say if recovery were possible. When he came to the bed, Death was standing by the feet of the sick man, and the herb did not grow, which could save him. "If I could but cheat Death for once," thought the physician. "He is sure to be angry if I do, but as I am his godson, he may have shut one eye. I will risk it." He therefore took up the sick man and laid him the other way, so that now Death was standing by his head. Then he gave the king some of the herb, and he recovered and grew healthy again. Dude, what a trickster. Didn't even ignore Death, he just bent the rules. But Death came to the physician, looking very black and angry, threatened him with his finger and said, "You have overreached me. This time I will pardon it, as you are my godson. But if you venture it again, it will cost you your neck, for I will take you away with me." Soon afterwards, the king's daughter fell into a severe illness. She was his only child, and he wept day and night so that he began to lose the sight of his eyes. And he made it known that whoever rescued her from death should be her husband and inherit the crown. When the physician came to the sick girl's bed, he saw Death by her feet. He ought to have remembered the warning given by his godfather, but he was so infatuated by the great beauty of the king's daughter and the happiness of becoming her husband that he flung all thought to the winds. He did not see that Death was casting angry glances at him, that he was raising his hand in the air and threatening him with his withered fist. He raised up the sick girl and placed her head where her feet had lain. Then he gave her some of the herb, and instantly her cheeks flushed red and life stirred afresh in her. Simp! When Death saw that for a second time he was defrauded of his own property, he walked up to the physician with long strides and said, "All is over for you, and now the lot falls on you," and seized him so firmly with his ice-cold hand that he could not resist, and led him into a cave below the earth. There he saw how thousands and thousands of candles were burning in countless rows, some large, others half-sized, others small. Every instant some were extinguished, and others again burnt up, so that the flames seemed to leap here and there in perpetual change. "See," said Death, "these are the lights of men's lives. The large ones belong to children, the half-sized ones to married people in their prime, and the little ones belong to old people. But children and young folks likewise have often only a tiny candle." "Show me the light of my life," said the physician, and he thought that it would be very tall. Death pointed to a little end which was just threatening to go out and said, "Look, it's there." "Ah, dear godfather," said the horrified physician, "light a new one for me, do it for love of me, that I may enjoy my life, be king, and the husband of the king's beautiful daughter." "I cannot," answered Death. "One must go out before a new one is lighted." Then place the old one on a new one that will go on burning when the old one has come to an end, pleaded the physician. Death behaved as if he were going to fulfill his wish, and took hold of a tall new candle, but as he desired revenge, he purposely made a mistake in fixing it, and the little piece fell down and was extinguished. Immediately the physician fell on the ground, and now he himself was in the hands of death. The end. That one made a lot more sense. It did! That one did make a lot more sense. The other one is just like... Nope, I'm out of here. I'm gonna run off. Mafia 4 was amazing. Well, there you go. The Girl Without Hands. That sounds like a real Grimm Fairy Tale banger right here. Save? I don't know how to save my book. Using a bookmark, I guess? Oh, okay, I think I remember the devil with the 3 golden hairs. I think I know her. Brothers Grimm predicted Myra. Okay, we can read the story about the girl with no hands in a minute. Let's read the devil with the golden hairs first. Because I feel like I remember this. But at the same time, I don't think I will. But let's give it a read. Hold on, when's my next ad break? My ad manager is broken. Oh no, my ad manager! It's broken! 5 minutes. Okay, maybe we'll run the ads now. And then I'll read the story after, so I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm out of coffee. Ooh. I'm out of coffee. This is horrible. Thank you guys. Okay. Let's read a bit more. This is The Devil with 3 Golden Hairs. There was once a poor woman who gave birth to a little son, and as he came into the world with a caul on, it was predicted that in his 14th year he would have the king's daughter for his wife. Was that the Vtuber on the super cool Rift Runners card I pulled? Oh my god, hello! Yes, that would be me. I'm also on the super cool box. Welcome in. We're reading for a bit today, which is not something we usually do. We only do it occasionally. So if this is your first impression, I usually play more games than I do like reading or chatting or whatever. But today is a different kind of stream. We're just hanging out and we're reading for a bit. You can read? Yes, anything but chat messages. I thought you were making all this shit up. Honestly, with how these are written, I wouldn't blame you for thinking I made those up, especially with the weird endings these stories have. It happened that soon afterwards the king came into the village, and no one knew that he was the king. And when he asked the people what news there was, they answered, "A child had just been born with a caul on. Whatever he undertakes in life will turn out well. It is prophesied, too, that in his 14th year he will have the king's daughter for his wife." Do you usually play retro games? Yeah. Retro games and a few modern games sprinkled in, like yesterday we were playing Hytale, for example. But I do lean... Well, I'd like to think I lean more towards older games, yeah. A lot on, like, old hardware and stuff. At the moment, however, we're playing Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker on PS3, and we're soon gonna start Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So those games aren't, like, terribly old. Ape Escape? Oh, that's right. I do want to also play Ape Escape 2 soon. Yeah. So kind of a mix, but, yeah. The king, who had a bad heart and was angry about the prophecy, went to the parents and, seeming quite friendly, said, "You poor people, let me have your child and I will take care of it." At first they refused, but when the stranger offered them a large amount of gold for it, and they thought, "It is a luck child and everything must turn out well for it," they at last consented and gave him the child. See how in this story, written by German authors, they're calling the child it? You literally cannot make fun of me anymore. That's just normal in Germany. You call the children its. That's just how the word is gendered in German, in the German language, okay? The king put it in a box and rode away with it until he came to a deep piece of water. Then he threw the box into it and thought, "I have freed my daughter from her unlooked-for suitor." Oh my god! The box, however, did not sink, but floated like a boat, and not a drop of water made its way into it. And it floated to within 2 miles of the king's chief city, where there was a mill, and it came to a standstill at the mill dam. A miller's boy, who by good luck was standing there, noticed it and pulled it out with a hook, thinking that he had found a great treasure. When he opened it, there lay a pretty boy inside, quite fresh and lively. He took him to the miller and his wife, and as they had no children, they were glad and said, "God has given him to us." They took great care of the foundling, and he grew up in all goodness. Boar tried to kill the baby and still fucked up. Yeah. My god. Gotta go bed. Just saw you were live and I wanted to pop in. Oh, welcome in. Yeah, have a good night. Found thing? No, foundling. Foundling. They took great care of the foundling. And he grew up in all goodness. It happened that once in a storm, the king went into the mill, and he asked the miller for his wife. And he asked the miller and his wife, not for his wife, if the tall youth was their son. No, they answered. He's a foundling. 14 years ago, he floated down to the mill dam in a box, and the mill boy pulled him out of the water. Then the king knew that it was none other than the luck child which he had thrown into the water, and he said, "My good people, could not the youth take a letter to the queen? I will give him 2 gold pieces as a reward." "Just as the king commands," answered they, and they told the boy they told the boy to get ready. Then the king wrote a letter to the queen, in which he said, "As soon as the boy arrives with this letter, let him be killed and buried, and all must be done before I come home." The boy set out with this letter, but he lost his way, and in the evening came to a large forest. In the darkness, he saw a small light. He went towards it and reached a cottage. When he went in, an old woman was sitting by the fire quite alone. She started when she saw the boy. Oh my god, I can't read today. She started when she saw the boy and said, "From where do you come and where are you going?" "I come from the mill," he answered, "and wish to go to the queen. To whom I am taking this letter? But as I have lost my way in the forest, I should like to stay here overnight." "You poor boy," said the woman. "You have come into a den of thieves, and when they come home they will kill you." "Let them come," said the boy. "I am not afraid, but I am so tired that I cannot go any farther." And he stretched himself upon a bench and fell asleep. Soon afterwards the robbers came and angrily asked what strange boy was lying there. "Ah," said the old woman, "it is an innocent child who had lost himself in the forest, and out of pity I have let him come in. He has to take a letter to the queen." The robbers opened the letter and read it, and in it was written that as soon as he arrived the boy should be put to death. Then the hard-hearted robbers felt pity, and their leader tore up the letter and wrote another, saying that as soon as the boy came, he should be married at once to the king's daughter. Then they let him lie quietly on the bench until the next morning, and when he awoke, they gave him the letter and showed him the right way. And the queen, when she had received the letter and read it, did as was written in it, and had a splendid wedding feast prepared. And the king's daughter was married to the luck child, and as the youth was handsome and agreeable, she lived with him in joy and contentment. After some time, the king returned to his palace and saw that the prophecy was fulfilled, and the luck child married to his daughter. "How has that come to pass?" said he. "I gave quite another order in my letter." So the queen gave him the letter and said that he might see for himself what was written in it. The king read the letter and saw quite well that it had been exchanged for the other. He asked the youth what had become of the letter entrusted to him, and why he had brought another instead of it. "I know nothing about it," answered he. "It must have been changed in the night when I slept in the forest." The king said in a passion, "You shall not have everything quite so much your own way. Whoever marries my daughter must fetch me from hell 3 golden hairs from the head of the devil. Bring me what I want, and you shall keep my daughter." In this way the king hoped to be rid of him forever, but the luck child answered, "I will fetch the golden hairs. I am not afraid of the devil." Thereupon he took leave of them and began his journey. The road led him to a large town, where the watchman by the gates asked him what his trade was, and what he knew. "I know everything," answered the luck child. "Then you can do us a favor," said the watchman. "If you will tell us why our marketplace's fountain, which once flowed with wine, has become dry, and no longer gives even water." "That you shall know," answered he. "Only wait until I come back." Then he went farther and came to another town, and there also the gatekeeper asked him what was his trade and what he knew. "I know everything," answered he. "Then you can do us a favor and tell us why a tree in our town which once bore golden apples now does not even put forth leaves." "You shall know that," answered he. "Only wait until I come back." You can just send letters to the queen and she will do whatever is written there. I know, right? Isn't that crazy? Then he went on and came to a wide river over which he must go. The ferryman asked him what his trade was and what he knew. "I know everything," answered he. "Then can you do me a favor," said the ferryman, "and tell me why I must always be rowing backwards and forwards, and no one comes to relieve me?" "You shall know that," answered he. "Only wait until I come back." When he had crossed the water, he found the entrance to hell. It was black and sooty within, and the devil was not at home, but his grandmother was sitting in a large armchair. "What do you want?" she said to him, but she did not look so very wicked. "I should like to have 3 golden hairs from the devil's head," answered he, "else I cannot keep my wife." "That is a good deal to ask for," said she. If the devil comes home and finds you, it will cost you your life, but as I pity you, I will see if I cannot help you." She changed him into an ant and said, "Creep into the folds of my dress, you will be safe there." "Okay, cougar." "Yes," answered he. "So far so good, but there are 3 things besides that I want to know. Why a fountain which once flowed with wine has become dry and no longer gives even water. Why a tree which once bore golden apples does not even put forth leaves, and why a ferryman must always be going backwards and forwards and is never set free." "Those are difficult questions," answered she, "but only be silent and quiet and pay attention to what the devil says when I pull out the 3 golden hairs." As evening came, the devil returned home. No sooner had he entered than he noticed that the air was not pure. "I smell man's flesh," said he. "All is not right here." Then he pried into every corner and searched, but could not find anything. His grandmother scolded him. "It has just been swept," said she, "and everything put in order, and now you are upsetting it again. You have always got man's flesh in your nose. Sit down and eat your supper." The devil being scolded by his grandma is kind of an odd picture. Boy smell, oh my god. When he had eaten and drunk, he was tired, and laid his head in his grandmother's lap, and before long he was fast asleep, snoring and breathing heavily. Then the old woman took hold of a golden hair, pulled it out, and laid it down near her. "Oh," cried the devil, "what are you doing?" "I have had a bad dream," answered the grandmother, "so I seized hold of your hair." "What did you dream, then?" said the devil. "I dreamt that a fountain in a marketplace from which wine once flowed was dried up, and not even water would flow out of it. What could be the cause of it?" "Oho, if they did but know it," answered the devil. "There is a toad sitting under a stone in the well. If they killed it, the wine would flow again." He went to sleep again and snored until the window shook. Then she pulled the second hair out. "Ouch! What are you doing?" cried the devil angrily. "Do not get angry," said she. "I did it in a dream." "What have you dreamt this time?" asked he. "I dreamt that in a certain kingdom there stood an apple tree which had once borne golden apples, but now would not even bear leaves. What do you think was the reason?" "Oh, if they did but know," answered the devil. "A mouse is gnawing at the root. If they killed this, they would have the golden apples again, but if it gnaws much longer, the tree will wither altogether. But leave me alone with your dreams. If you disturb me in my sleep again, you will get a slap on the ear." The grandmother spoke gently to him until he fell asleep again and snored. Then she took hold of the 3rd golden hair and pulled it out. The devil jumped up, roared, and would have threatened her ill if she had not quieted him once more and said, "Who can help bad dreams?" "What was the dream then?" asked he, and was quite furious. "I dreamt of a ferryman who complained that he must always ferry from one side to the other and was never released. What is the cause of it?" "Ah, the fool," answered the devil. "When anyone comes and wants to go across, he must put the oar in his hand, and the other man will have to ferry, and he will be free. As the grandmother had plucked out the 3 golden hairs, and the 3 questions were answered, she let the old serpent alone and slept until daybreak. When the devil had gone out again, the old woman took the ant out of the folds of her dress and gave the luck child his human shape again. "There are the 3 golden hairs for you," said she. "But the devil said to your 3 questions, I suppose you heard?" "Yes," answered he, "I heard and will take care to remember." "You have what you want," said she. "Now you can go your way." He thanked the old woman for helping him in his need, and he left hell well content that everything had turned out so fortunately. When he came to the ferryman, he was expected to give the promised answer. "Ferry me across first," said the luck child, "and then I will tell you how you can be set free." And when he reached the opposite shore, he gave him the devil's advice. "Next time anyone comes who wants to be ferried over, just put the oar in his hand." He went on and came to the town where the unfruitful tree stood, and there too the watchman wanted an answer. So he told him that what he had heard from the devil. "Kill the mouse which is gnawing at its root, and it will again bear golden apples." Then the watchman thanked him and gave him as a reward 2 asses laden with gold, which followed him. Donkeys, guys, donkeys. At last he came to the town, whose well was dry. He told the watchman what the devil had said. "A toad is in a well beneath a stone. You must find it and kill it, and the well will again give wine in plenty." The watchman thanked him, and also gave him 2 asses laden with gold. At last the luck child got home to his wife, who was heartily glad to see him again, and to hear how well he had prospered in everything. To the king he took what he had asked for, the devil's 3 golden hairs, and when the king saw the 4 asses laden with gold, he was quite content, and said, "Now all the conditions are fulfilled, and you can keep my daughter, but tell me, dear son-in-law, where did all that gold come from? This is tremendous wealth." "I was rowed across the river," answered he, "and got it there. The shore is made of gold instead of sand." "Okay, liar." "Can I too fetch some of it?" said the king, and he was quite eager about it. "As much as you like," answered he. "There's a ferryman on the river. Let him ferry you over, and you can fill your sacks on the other side." The greedy king set out in all haste, and when he came to the river, he beckoned to the ferryman to put him across. The ferryman came and bade him get in, and when they got to the other shore, he put the oar in his hand and sprang out. From this time forth, the king had to ferry, as a punishment for his sins. Perhaps he is ferrying still. If he is, it is because no one has taken the oar from him. The end. That's his punishment. Tried to kill a child twice. Once as a baby and once as like a 14-year-old, and all he gets to do is row a boat? I suppose he gets to do it near hell. Maybe that counts for something. Shonen slop? Yeah. Me coming back to my princess wife with my 4 asses loaded with gold. Okay, girl without hands next. Was the king, the boy's father, and the father of the princess? No. The boy was born to a poor family, and it was prophesied that he would be lucky and marry the king's daughter. And the king didn't like it, so the king tried to kill him by putting him to drown in a river, but he didn't drown, he floated off. 14 years passed, the king finds the boy at a mill, and it's like, "Oh, well, he doesn't say this, but he's like, "Oh, I recognize you. Deliver this letter to my wife." And the letter reads, "Kill this child before I come home." He's on his way, and gets found by bandits, etc., etc. You're the girl without hands. I don't know. I don't think the story is about me, you guys. Okay. A girl without hands. A certain miller had little by little fallen into poverty and had nothing left but his mill and a large apple tree behind it. The Devil Hair story is probably the best one so far. I enjoyed it. I don't know. I think Little Red Riding Hood is still my favorite. But so far today, yeah, definitely. A certain miller had little by little fallen into poverty and had nothing left but his mill and a large apple tree behind it. Once when he had gone into the forest to fetch wood, an old man stepped up to him, whom excuse me, whom he had never seen before, and said, "Why do you plague yourself with cutting wood? I will make you rich if you promise me what is standing behind your mill." "What can that be but my apple tree?" thought the miller, and said yes, and gave a written promise to the stranger. He, however, laughed mockingly and said, "When 3 years have passed, I will come and carry away what belongs to me." And then he went. When the miller got home, his wife came to meet him and said, "Tell me, miller, from where does this sudden wealth come into our house? All at once, every box and chest was filled. No one brought it in, and I know not how it happened." He answered, "It comes from a stranger who met me in the forest and promised me great treasure. I, in return, have promised him what stands behind the mill. We can very well give him the big apple tree for it." "Ah, husband," said the terrified wife, "that must have been the devil. He did not mean the apple tree, but our daughter, who was standing behind the mill sweeping the yard." The miller's daughter was a beautiful, God-fearing girl, and lived through the 3 years in piety and without sin. When therefore the time was over, and the day came when the evil one was to fetch her, she washed herself clean, and made a circle round herself with chalk. The devil appeared quite early, but he could not come near her. Angrily he said to the miller, "Take all water away from her, that she may longer be able to wash herself, for otherwise I have no power over her." The miller was afraid, and did so. The next morning the devil came again, but she had wept on her hands, and they were quite clean. Again he could not get near her, and furiously said to the miller, "Cut her hands off, or else I cannot get the better of her." The miller was shocked and answered, "How could I cut off my own child's hands?" Then the evil one threatened him and said, "If you do not do it, you are mine, and I will take you yourself." The father became alarmed and promised to obey him. So he went to the girl and said, "My child, if I do not cut off both your hands, the devil will carry me away, and in my terror I have promised to do it. Help me in my need, and forgive me the harm I do you." She replied, "Dear father, do with me what you will. I am your child." Thereupon she laid down both her hands and let them be cut off. Hello? The devil came for the 3rd time, but she had wept so long and so much on the stumps that after all they were quite clean. Then he had to give in and had lost all right over her. The miller said to her, "Because of you I have received such great wealth that I will keep you most delicately as long as you live." But she replied, "Here I cannot stay. I will go forth. Compassionate people will give me as much as I require." Thereupon she had maimed arms bound to her back, and by sunrise she set out on her way and walked the whole day until night fell. Then she came to a royal garden, and by the shimmering of the moon she saw that trees covered with beautiful fruits grew in it, but she could not enter, for there was much water about it. And as she had walked the whole day and not eaten one mouthful, and hunger tormented her, she thought, "Ah, if I were but inside, then I might eat the fruit. If I were but inside, then I might eat the fruit, else I must die of hunger." Then she knelt down, called on God the Lord, and prayed. And suddenly an angel came towards her, who made a dam in the water, so that the moat became dry, and she could walk through it. And now she went into the garden, and the angel went with her. She saw a tree covered with beautiful pears, but they were all counted. Then she went to them, and to still her hunger ate one with her mouth from the tree, but no more. The gardener was watching, but as the angel was standing by, he was afraid and thought the maiden was a spirit, and was silent. Neither did he dare to cry out or to speak to the spirit. When she had eaten the pear, she was satisfied, and went and concealed herself among the bushes. The king to whom the garden belonged came down to it the next morning and counted, and saw that one of the pears was missing, and asked the gardener what had become of it, as it was not lying beneath the tree, but was gone. Then answered the gardener, "Last night a spirit came in, who had no hands, and ate off one of the pears with its mouth." The king said, "How did the spirit get over the water, and where did it go after it had eaten the pear?" Guys, I don't know about this one. The gardener answered, "Someone from heaven came in a snow-white garment and made a dam, and kept back the water, that the spirit might walk through the moat. And as it must have been an angel, I was afraid and asked no questions and did not cry out. When the spirit had eaten the pear, it went back again." The king said, "If it is as you say, I will watch with you tonight." When it grew dark, the king came into the garden and brought a priest with him, who was to speak to the spirit. All three seated themselves beneath the tree and watched. At midnight the maiden came creeping out of the thicket, went to the tree, and again ate one pear off it with her mouth, and beside her stood the angel in white garments. Then the priest went out to them and said, "Come you from heaven or from earth? Are you a spirit or a human being?" She replied, "I am no spirit, but an unhappy mortal deserted by all but God." The king said, "Though you are forsaken by all the world, I will not forsake you." He took her with him into his royal palace, and she was so beautiful and good, he loved her with all his heart, had silver hands made for her, and took her for his wife. After a year, the king had to go to war, so he placed his young queen in the care of his mother and said, "If she is brought to bed, take care of her, nurse her well, and tell me of it at once in a letter." Then she gave birth to a fine boy. So the old mother made haste to write and announce the joyful news to him. But the messenger rested by a brook on the way, and as was fatigued by the great distance, he fell asleep. Then came the devil, who was always seeking to injure the good queen, and exchanged the letter for another, in which was written that the queen had brought a monster into the world. When the king read the letter, he was shocked and much troubled, but he wrote an answer that they were to take great care of the queen and nurse her well until his arrival. The messenger went back with the letter, but rested at the same place and again fell asleep. Then came the devil once more, and put a different letter in his pocket, in which it was written that they were to put the queen and her child to death. The old mother was terribly shocked when she received the letter, and could not believe it. She wrote back again to the king, but received no other answer, because each time the devil substituted a false letter, and in the last letter it was also written that she was to preserve the queen's tongue and eyes as a token that she had obeyed. This is fucking crazy. Encryption is important. Yeah, these usually royal family, they wear rings with what's it, signet rings that you press into the wax as a way of showing that this letter is legit and approved by the royal family, right? But I guess if the devil, I mean, the devil might just be able to forge that wax seal, right? Maybe? I don't know. This is odd. Dude, I would love to have a wax seal ring. That would actually go so hard, though. Don't you think? Oh. Anyway, continuing on. But the old mother wept to think such innocent blood was to be shed, and had a doe brought by night, and cut out her tongue and eyes, and kept them. Then she said to the queen, "I cannot have you killed as the king commands, but here you may stay no longer. Go forth into the wide world with your child, and never come here again." The poor woman tied her child on her back, and went away with eyes full of tears. With your coffin MM logo? Yeah, and maybe some roses or something. Wouldn't that be so sick? She came into a great forest, and then she fell on her knees and prayed to God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to her and led her to a little house on which was a sign with the words, "Here all dwell free." The snow-white maiden came out of the little house and said, "Welcome, Lady Queen," and led her inside. Then they unbound the little boy from her back and held him to her breast that he might feed. and laid him in a beautifully made little bed. Then said the poor woman, "How do you know that I was a queen?" The white maiden answered, "I am an angel sent by God to watch over you and your child." The queen stayed 7 years in the little house, and was well cared for, and by God's grace, because of her piety, her hands which had been cut off grew once more. Excuse me. At last the king came home again from the war, and his first wish was to see his wife and the child. Then his aged mother began to weep and said, "You wicked man, why did you write to me that I was to take those 2 innocent lives?" And she showed him the 2 letters which the evil one had forged, and then continued, "I did as you bade me," and she showed the tokens, the tongue and eyes. Then the king began to weep. The king began to weep for his poor wife and his little son so much more bitterly than she was doing. But the aged mother had compassion on him and said, "Be at peace, she still lives. I secretly had a doe killed and took these tokens from it. But I bound the child to your wife's back and bade her go forth into the wide world and made her promise never to come back here again because you were so angry with her." Honestly, the mother is kind of the MVP of this. Then spoke the king, "I will go as far as the sky is blue, and will neither eat nor drink until I have found again my dear wife and my child, if, in the meantime, they have not been killed or died of hunger." Thereupon the king travelled about for 7 long years, and sought her in every cleft of the rocks and in every cave, but he did not find her, and thought she had died of want. During the whole of this time he neither ate nor drank, but God supported him. At length he came into a great forest, and found therein the little house whose sign was, "Here all dwell free." Then forth came the white maiden, took him by the hand, led him in, and said, "Welcome, Lord King," and asked him from where he came. He answered, "I have travelled about for the space of 7 years, and I seek my wife and her child, but cannot find them." The angel offered him meat and drink, but he did not take anything, and only wished to rest a little. Then he lay down to sleep, and put a handkerchief over his face. Thereupon the angel went into the chamber where the queen sat with her son, whom she usually called Sorrowful, and said to her, "Go out with your child, your husband has come." So she went to the place where he lay, and the handkerchief fell from his face. Then said she, "Sorrowful, pick up your father's handkerchief and cover his face again." The child picked it up and put it over his face again. The king in his sleep heard what passed, and had pleasure in letting the handkerchief fall once more. But the child grew impatient and said, "Dear mother, how can I cover my father's face when I have no father in this world? I have learned to say the prayer, 'Our Father, which art in heaven.' You have told me that my father was in heaven, and was the good God. And how can I recognize a wild man like this? He is not my father." When the king heard that, he got up and asked who they were. Then said she, "I am your wife, and that is your son, Sorrowful." And he saw her living hands, and said, "My wife had silver hands." She answered, "The good God has caused my natural hands to grow again." And the angel went into the inner room, and brought the silver hands, and showed them to him. Then he knew for a certainty that it was his dear wife and his dear child, and he kissed them, and was glad, and said, "A heavy stone has fallen off my heart." Then the angel of God gave them 1 meal with her, and after that they went home to the king's aged mother. There were great rejoicings everywhere, and the king and queen were married again, and lived contently to their happy end. Yeah. Moral of the story, don't make deals with the devil, I guess. Don't give up your daughter for the devil. Don't cut off your daughter's hands for the devil. And, encryption is important. As Yarn said earlier. These stories are so odd. Okay. Well, we've got to do Hansel and Gretel, right? This one's quite long. But we're gonna do Hansel and Gretel now. Ah. Excuse me. Okay, let's see. I'm leaning back in my chair all cozy. Okay. Hansel and Gretel. The classic with the gingerbread house, right? Or the candy house. Near a great forest dwelt a poor woodcutter with his wife and his 2 children. The boy was called Hansel and the girl Gretel. He had little to bite and to break, and when great scarcity fell on the land, he could no longer procure daily bread. Now when he thought over this at night in his bed and tossed about in his anxiety, he groaned and said to his wife, "What is to become of us? How are we to feed our poor children when we no longer have anything even for ourselves?" "I'll tell you what, husband," answered the woman. "Early tomorrow morning we will take the children out into the forest where it is the thickest. Then we will light a fire for them and give each of them 1 piece of bread, and then we will go to our work and leave them alone. They will not find the way home again, and we shall be rid of them." This is crazy. "No, wife," said the man. "I will not do that. How can I bear to leave my children alone in the forest? The wild animals would soon come and tear them to pieces." "Oh, you fools," said she. "Then we must all 4 die of hunger. You may as well plane the planks for our coffins." And she left him no peace until he consented. "But I feel very sorry for the poor children all the same," said the man. The 2 children had also not been able to sleep for hunger, and had heard what their stepmother had said to their father. Oh, it's their stepmother, of course. Gretel wept bitter tears and said to Hansel, "Now all is over for us." "Hush, Gretel," said Hansel. "Do not distress yourself. I will soon find a way to help us." And when the old folks had fallen asleep, he got up, put on his little coat, opened the door below, and crept outside. The moon shone brightly, and the white pebbles which lay in front of the house glittered like real silver pennies. Hansel stooped and put as many of them in the little pocket of his coat as he could possibly get in. Then he went back and said to Gretel, "Be comforted, dear little sister, and sleep in peace. God will not forsake us." And he lay down again in his bed. When day dawned, but before the sun had risen, the woman came and awoke the 2 children, saying, "Get up, you sluggards. We are going into the forest to fetch wood." She gave each a little piece of bread and said, "There's something for your dinner, but do not eat it up before then, for you will get nothing else." Gretel took the bread under her apron, as Hansel had the stones in his pocket. Then they all set out together on the way to the forest. When they had walked a short time, Hansel stood still and peeped back at the house, and did so again and again. His father said, "Hansel, what are you looking at there and staying behind for? Mind yourself, and do not forget how to use your legs." "Ah, father," said Hansel, "I am looking at my little white cat, which is sitting up on the roof and wants to say goodbye to me." The wife said, "Fool, that is not your little cat. That is the morning sun, which is shining out on the chimneys." Hansel, however, had not been looking back at the cat, but had been constantly throwing one of the white pebble stones out of his pocket on the road. When they had reached the middle of the forest, the father said, "Now, children, pile up some wood, and I will light a fire that you may not be cold." Hansel and Gretel gathered brushwood together, as high as a little hill. The brushwood was lighted, and when the flames were burning very high, the woman said, "Now, children, lay yourselves down by the fire and rest. We will go into the forest and cut some wood. When we have done, we will come back and fetch you away." Hansel and Gretel sat by the fire, and when noon came, each ate a little piece of bread, and as they heard the strokes of the wood axe, they believed that their father was near. It was not, however, the axe. It was a branch which he had fastened to a withered tree, which the wind was blowing backwards and forwards. and as they had been sitting such a long time, their eyes shut with fatigue, and they fell fast asleep. When at last they awoke, it was already dark night. Gretel began to cry and said, "How are we to get out of the forest now?" But Hansel comforted her and said, "Just wait a little until the moon has risen, and then we will soon find the way." And when the full moon had risen, Hansel took his little sister by the hand and followed the pebbles which shone like newly coined silver pieces and showed them the way. They walked the whole night long, and by break of day came once more to their father's house. They knocked at the door, and when the woman opened it and saw it was Hansel and Gretel, she said, "You naughty children, why have you slept so long in the forest? We thought you were never coming back at all." The father, however, rejoiced, for it had cut him to the heart to leave them behind alone. Not long afterwards there was once again more great scarcity in all parts, and the children had their mother saying at night to their father, heard their mother saying at night to their father, "Everything is eaten again. We have 1/2 loaf left, and after that there is no more. The children must go. We will take them farther into the woods, so that they will not find their way out again. There is no other means of saving ourselves." The man's heart was heavy, and he thought, "It would be better for you to share the last mouthful with your children." The woman, however, would listen to nothing that he had to say, but scolded and reproached him. He who says A must say B likewise, and as he had yielded the first time, he had to do so a second time also. The children were, however, still awake and had heard the conversation. When the old folks were asleep, Hansel got up and wanted to go out and pick up pebbles as he had done before. But the woman had locked the door, and Hansel could not get out. Nevertheless, he comforted his little sister and said, "Do not cry, Gretel. Go to sleep quietly, and the good God will help us." Early in the morning came the woman, and took the children out of their beds. Their bit of bread was given to them, but it was still smaller than the time before. On the way into the forest, Hansel crumbled his in his pocket, and often stood still and threw a morsel on the ground. "Hansel, why do you stop and look around?" said the father. "Go on." "I am looking back at my little pigeon, which is sitting on the roof and wants to say goodbye to me," answered Hansel. "Simpleton," said the woman, "that is not your little pigeon, that is the morning sun that is shining on the chimney." Hansel, however, little by little, threw all the crumbs on the path. The woman led the children still deeper into the forest, where they had never in their lives been before. Then a great fire was again made, and the mother said, "Just sit there, you children, and when you are tired you may sleep a little. We are going into the forest to cut wood, and in the evening, when we are done, we will come and fetch you away." Thank you for the stretch. Ah! Thank you. When it was noon, Gretel shared her piece of bread with Hansel, who had scattered his by the way. Then they fell asleep, and evening came and went, but no one came to the poor children. They did not awake until it was dark night, and Hansel comforted his little sister and said, "Just wait, Gretel, until the moon rises, then we shall see the crumbs of bread which I have strewn about. They will show us our way home again." When the moon came, they set out, but they found no crumbs, for the many thousands of birds which flew about in the woods and fields had picked them all up. Hansel said to Gretel, "We shall soon find the way," but they did not find it. They walked the whole night, and all the next day, too, from morning till evening, but they did not get out of the forest and were very hungry. They had nothing to eat but 2 or 3 berries which grew on the ground, and as they were so weary their legs would carry them no longer, they lay down beneath a tree and fell asleep. It was now 3 mornings since they had left their father's house. They began to walk again, but they always got deeper into the forest, and if help did not come soon, they would die of hunger and weariness. When it was midday, they saw a beautiful snow-white bird sitting on a bough, which sang so delightfully that they stood still and listened to it. And when it had finished its song, it spread its wings and flew away before them. And they followed it until they reached a little house, on the roof of which it alighted. And when they came quite up to the little house, they saw that it was built of bread and covered with cakes, and that the windows were of clear sugar. We will set to work on that, said Hansel, and have a good meal. I will eat a bit of the roof, and you, Gretel, can eat some of the window. It'll taste sweet. Hansel reached up above and broke off a little of the roof to try how it tasted, and Gretel leaned against the window and nibbled at the panes, when a soft voice cried from the room, "Nibble, nibble, gnaw, who is nibbling away at my little house?" The children answered, the wind, the heaven-born wind," and went on eating without disturbing themselves. Crunch roof flavor. Hansel, who thought the roof tasted very nice, tore down a great piece of it, and Gretel pushed out the whole of one round window pane, sat down and enjoyed herself with it. Suddenly the door opened, and a very, very old woman, who supported herself on crutches, came creeping out. Hansel and Gretel were so terribly frightened that they let fall what they had in their hands. The old woman, however, nodded her head and said, "Oh, you dear children, who has brought you here? Do come in and stay with me. No harm shall happen to you." She took them both by the hand and let them into her little house. Then good food was set before them, milk and pancakes, with sugar, apples, and nuts. Afterwards 2 pretty little beds were covered with clean white linen, and Hansel and Gretel lay down in them and thought they were in heaven. The old woman had only pretended to be so kind. She was in reality a wicked witch who lay in wait for children and had only built the little house of bread in order to entice them there. When a child fell into her power, she killed it, cooked and ate it, and that was a feast day with her. Hashtag not all witches. Thank you very much. Witches have red eyes and cannot see far, but they have a keen scent like the beasts and are aware when human beings draw near. When Hansel and Gretel came into her neighborhood, she laughed maliciously and said mockingly, "I have them. They shall not escape me again." Early in the morning, before the children were awake, she was already up, and when she saw both of them sleeping and looking so pretty with their plump red cheeks, she muttered to herself, "That will be a dainty mouthful." Hi, Looney. Welcome in. Imagine the texture of a roof tile, peanut brittle. Oh! Oh! You're making me hungry for roof. Then she seized Hansel with her shriveled hand, carried him into a little stable, and shut him in with a grated door. He might scream as he liked, that was of no use. Then she went to Gretel, shook her till she awoke, and cried, "Get up, lazy thing! Fetch some water, and cook something good for your brother. He's in the stable outside, and is to be made fat. When he is fat, I will eat him." Gretel began to weep bitterly, but it was all in vain. She was forced to do what the wicked witch ordered her. That is so fucking funny, man. She's actually just bullying them. And now the best food was cooked for poor Hansel, but Gretel got nothing but crab shells. Dude, she's got crab? What the hell? Every morning the woman crept to the little stable and cried, "Hansel, stretch your finger that I may feel if you will soon be fat." Hansel, however, stretched out a little bone to her, and the old woman, who had dim eyes, could not see it, and thought it was Hansel's finger, and was astonished that there was no way of fattening him. When 4 weeks had gone by, and Hansel still stayed thin, she was seized with impatience and would not wait any longer. "Now, Gretel," she cried to the girl, "be active and bring some water. Let Hansel be fat or lean. Tomorrow I will kill him and cook him." Ah, how the poor little sister did lament when she had to fetch the water, and how her tears did flow down her cheeks. "Dear God, do help us," she cried. "If the wild beasts in this forest had devoured us, at least we should have died together." "Just keep your noise to yourselves," said the old woman. "All that won't help you at all." Early in the morning, Gretel had to go out and hang up the cauldron with the water and light the fire. "We will bake first," said the old woman. I've already heated the oven and kneaded the dough. She pushed poor Gretel out to the oven, from which flames of fire were already darting. Creep in, said the witch, and see if it is properly heated, so that we can shut the bread in. And once Gretel was inside, she intended to shut the oven and let her bake in it. And then she would eat her, too. But Gretel saw what she had in her mind and said, I do not know how I am to do it. How do you get in? Silly goose, said the old woman. The door is big enough. Just look, I can get in myself. And she crept up and thrust her head into the oven. Then Gretel gave her a push and drove her far into it and shut the iron door and fastened the bolt. Oh, then she began to howl quite horribly, but Gretel ran away, and the godless witch was miserably burnt to death. Gretel, however, ran like lightning to Hansel, opened his little stable, and cried, Hansel, we are saved. The old witch is dead. And Hansel sprang out like a bird from its cage when the door is opened for it. How they rejoiced and embraced each other, and danced about and kissed each other. And as they had no longer any need to fear her, they went into the witch's house, and in every corner there stood chests full of pearls and jewels. These are far better than pebbles, said Hansel, and thrust into his pockets whatever could be got in. And Gretel said, I too will take something home with me, and filled her pinafore full. But now we will go away, said Hansel, that we may get out of the witch's forest. When they had walked for 2 hours, they came to a great body of water. We cannot get over, said Hansel. I see no footplank and no bridge, and no boat to cross either, answered Gretel. But a white duck is swimming there. If I ask her, she will help us over. Then she cried, little duck, do you see? Hansel and Gretel are waiting for you. There's never a plank or bridge in sight. Take us across on your back so white. The duck came to them, and Hansel seated himself on its back, and told his sister to sit by him. No, replied Gretel, that would be too heavy for the little duck. She shall take us across, one after the other. The good little duck did so, and when they were safely across and had walked for a short time, the forest seemed to be more and more familiar to them, and at length they saw from afar their father's house. Then they began to run, rushed into the parlour, and threw themselves into their father's arms. The man had not known one happy hour since he had left the children in the forest. The woman, however, was dead. Gretel emptied her pinafore until pearls and precious stone ran about the room, and Hansel threw one handful after another out of his pocket to add to them. Then all anxiety was at an end, and they lived together in perfect happiness. My tale is done. See the mouse run. Whoever catches it may make himself a big fur cap out of it. What? My tale is done. See the mouse run. Whoever catches it may make himself a big fur cap out of it. Was the last sentence necessary? Could the story not have ended normally with, then all anxiety was at an end and they lived together in perfect happiness? Was that little rhyme at the end needed? So odd. Anyway, that was pretty good. So the stepmother was the witch, huh? What do you think of that? I didn't know the part about the duck. Gives a new meaning to hag love. I don't think this hag deserved the love. If you were an evil witch, would you live in a little gingerbread house? I wouldn't, ever. I quite like my little castle. My little shitty abandoned castle. My hungry ass could never. What do you think would be the best food to build a house out of? I guess it depends on your climate, right? Oh, imagine a house made of cheese. Oh my god. Oh, the smell though. The smell would be so bad. Now that I think about it. Fish house. Oh! I'm getting pretty tired of reading. We've only been reading for like an hour and a half, and I'm getting very tired. Maybe we can do 1 or 2 short ones and then call it. Here's one called The 7 Ravens. There was once a man who had 7 sons, and still he had no daughter. Hey Detoyo, hello, hello. However much he wished for one. At length his wife again gave him hope of a child, and when it came into the world it was a girl. The joy was great, but the child was sickly and small, and had to be privately baptized on account of its weakness. The father sent one of the boys in haste to the spring to fetch water for the baptism. The other 6 went with him, and as each of them wanted to be first to fill it, the jug fell into the well. There they stood and did not know what to do, and none of them dared to go home. As they still did not return, the father grew impatient and said, "They have certainly forgotten it for some game, the wicked boys." He became afraid that the girl would have to die without being baptized, and in his anger cried, "I wish the boys were all turned into ravens." Hardly was the word spoken before he heard a whirring of wings over his head in the air, looked up and saw 7 coal-black ravens flying away. The parents could not recall the curse, and however sad they were at the loss of their 7 sons, they still had to some extent comforted themselves with their dear little daughter, who soon grew strong and every day became more beautiful. For a long time she did not know that she had brothers, for her parents were careful not to mention them before her. But one day she accidentally heard some people saying of herself that the girl was certainly beautiful, but that in reality she was to blame for the misfortune which had befallen her 7 brothers. Then she was much troubled, and went to her father and mother and asked if it was true that she had brothers, and what had become of them. The parents now dared to keep the secret no longer, but said that what had befallen her brothers was the will of heaven, and that her birth was not to blame. But the maiden took it to heart daily, and thought she must save her brothers. She had no rest or peace until she set out secretly, and went forth into the wide world to find her brothers and set them free, let it cost what it might. She took nothing with her but a little ring belonging to her parents as a keepsake, a loaf of bread against hunger, a little pitcher of water against thirst, and a little chair as a provision against weariness. And now she went continually onwards, far, far to the very end of the world. Then she came to the sun, but it was too hot and terrible, and devoured little children. Hastily she ran away, and ran to the moon, but it was far too cold, and also awful and malicious, and when it saw the child, it said, I smell the flesh of men." At this she ran swiftly away, and came to the stars, which were kind and good to her, and each of them sat on its own particular little chair. But the morning star arose, and gave her the drumstick of a chicken, and said, "If you have not that drumstick, you cannot open the glass mountain, and in the glass mountain are your brothers." What the fuck were they? What the fuck is going on? It feels like for some of these stories they did like an edible, and it kicked in when they were like halfway through writing the story down. The maiden took the drumstick, wrapped it carefully in a cloth, and went onwards again until she came to the glass mountain. The door was shut, and she thought she would take out the drumstick, but when she undid the cloth, it was empty, and she had lost the good star's present. What was she now to do? She wished to rescue her brothers, and had no key to the glass mountains. The good sister took a knife, cut off one of her little fingers, put it in the door, and succeeded in opening it. When she had gone inside, a little dwarf came to meet her, who said, "My child, what are you looking for?" "I am looking for my brothers, the 7 ravens," she replied. The dwarf said, "The Lord Ravens are not at home, but if you will wait here until they come, step in." Thereupon the little dwarf carried the raven's dinner in, on 7 little plates, and in 7 little glasses, and the little sister ate a morsel from each plate, and from each little glass she took a sip. In the last little glass she dropped the ring which she had brought away with her. Suddenly she heard a whirring of wings and a rushing through the air, and then the little dwarf said, "Now the Lord Ravens are flying home." Then they came, and wanted to eat and drink, and looked for their little plates and glasses. Then said one after the other, "Who has eaten something from my plate? Who has drunk out of my little glass?" It was a human mouth. Horatius cameo? I know, right? That was what was going through my head. And when the 7th came to the bottom of the glass, the ring rolled against his mouth. Then he looked at it and saw that it was a ring belonging to his father and mother, and said, "God grant that our sister may be here, and then we shall be free." When the maiden who was standing behind the door watching heard that wish, she came forth, and at this all the ravens were restored to their human form again, and they embraced and kissed each other and went joyfully home. The end. Moral of the story? Don't curse out your children, I guess? Maybe? Yay! Why did she have to cut her finger off? She didn't even try inserting the bone. Well, so thank you so much, Strange, for the bits.
Wide free nose wine time.
Wide free nose wine time. Okay, let's do another short one. Thank you for the stretch and hydrate. I'll do that before we start. This one is called The Tailor in Heaven. This is another short one. So I think this will be our last story for today. All right. One very fine day it came to pass that the good God wished to enjoy himself in the heavenly garden, and took all the apostles and saints with him, so that no one stayed in heaven but Saint Peter. Okay, let's do a different one. Perhaps not this one. This one might be a bit too based on religion. Let's see. Do we have another short one? This Mr. Korbs one is very short. So we could do Mr. Korbs and then Frau Trude. Frau Trude. Those are both very short. There were once a cook. Not a cook. There were once a cock and a hen who wanted to take a journey together. So the cock built a beautiful carriage which had 4 red wheels and harnessed 4 mice to it. The hen seated herself in it with the cock, and they drove away together. Not long afterwards they met a cat who said, "Where are you going?" The cock replied, "We are going to the house of Mr. Korbs." "Take me with you," said the cat. The cock answered, "Most willingly. Get up behind, lest you fall off in front. Take great care not to dirty my little red wheels. And you little wheels, roll on, and you little mice, pipe out, as we go forth on our way to the house of Mr. Korbes. After this came a millstone, then an egg, then a duck, then a pin, and at last a needle, who all seated themselves in the carriage and drove with them. When, however, they reached the house of Mr. Korbes, Mr. Korbes was not there. The mice drew the carriage into the barn, the hen flew with the cock upon a perch, the cat sat down by the hearth, the duck on the sink, the egg rolled itself into a towel, the pin stuck itself into the chair cushion, and the needle jumped onto the bed in the middle of the pillow, and the millstone laid itself over the door. Then Mr. Korbes came home, went to the hearth, and was about to light the fire when the cat threw a quantity of ashes in his face. He ran into the kitchen in a great hurry to wash it off, and the duck splashed some water in his face. He wanted to dry it with a towel, but the egg rolled up against him, broke, and glued up his eye. He wanted to rest and sat down in the chair, and then the pin pricked him. He fell in a passion, threw himself on his bed, but as soon as he laid his head on the pillow, the needle pricked him, so that he screamed aloud, and was just going to run out into the wide world in his rage. When he came to the door, the millstone leapt down and struck him dead. Mr. Korbes must have been a very wicked man. The end. How much ashes? A quantity of ashes. Yes, a quantity of ashes. That's what it says in the book. Okay, and we have another very short one. Frau Trude. Just one of those days where it feels like nothing is going right. I've definitely had days like Mr. Korbes, but I didn't die, so I guess I'm doing better than him. Okay, this is Frau Trude. There was once a little girl who was obstinate and inquisitive, and when her parents told her to do anything, she did not obey them. So how could she fare well? One day she said to her parents, "I have heard so much of Frau Trude, I will go to her some day. People say that everything about her does look so strange, and that there are such odd things in her house, that I have become quite curious." Her parents absolutely forbade her and said, "Frau Trude is a bad woman who does wicked things, and if you go to her, you are no longer our child." But the maiden did not let herself be stopped by her parents' prohibition, and still went to Frau Trude. And when she got to her, Frau Trude said, "Why are you so pale?" "Ah," she replied, and her whole body trembled. "I have been so terrified at what I have seen." "What have you seen?" "I saw a black man on your steps. That was a collier. Then I saw a green man. That was a hunter. After that, I saw a blood-red man. That was a butcher." "Ah, Frau Trude, I was terrified. I looked through the window and saw not you, but, as I verily believe, the devil himself with a head of fire." "Oho," said she, "then you have seen the witch in her proper costume. I have been waiting for you, and wanting you a long time already. You shall give me some light." Then she changed the girl into a block of wood and threw it into the fire, and when it was in full blazes, she sat down close to it and warmed herself by it and said, "That shines bright for once." Huh? I know. That almost went really bad in a different way. They couldn't have listed any of the other men first in the story. They had to make it sound like she was afraid of that one. What kind of story was that? I know! They're so shitty! I can't believe it. Well, there you go. Left it off with the real Grimm Fairy Tales banger. Of all the colors, I know. Okay. I'm gonna finish up reading here, but I think maybe we can do some dulls so we don't end stream like super early. We can do a few dulls, and then end a little early, but not like after 2 hours. So I'll be right back, and then we'll do some dulls. We're back. Hello. I just put on some Nintendo music to relax. We're big chillin' today. Let me see. So which is the first duel of the day? Probably the guess the game, right? Guess the game. Oh, excuse me. Throat feels a bit raw, probably from singing yesterday still. Okay. Do you do Bandle? We could do Bandle. Okay, so we've got some scan lines and we've got a mountain. I have no idea what this could be. We'll do a Ninja Gaiden. What is this? We'll do a Donkey Kong. I don't think it's Donkey Kong Country. What is this? More modern, isn't it? Parrot. Fighting game. I don't know fighting game! Street Fighter. Yes! I don't know which one. Samurai Showdown? Is that the name of the Street Fighter game? 3? Okay, Street Fighter 3. Street Fighter 3. There's like 4 games that are 3. Okay, it was just 3. It was just 3, don't worry. And they all look the same, Okay, let's do Game Duel first and then we'll do Bandle. How about that? Okay, cover art. Oh my god, this is the slot machine game. This is Clover Pit. Holy shit. How did I get that? Oh my god. I love gambling! What is this? This could be anything. Dying Light? But Dying Light is like... wrong franchise in Saga. Battlefield. Battlefield... I don't know, 6. I have no idea. E33? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think this is a guy with a gun and we have like helicopters or something. Is that a mech? Armored Core. Oh, correct! Correct franchise or saga! It's an Armored Core! Armored Core 5. Armored Core! Verdict Day! Holy crap. I can recognize a mech from 12 pixels. What the hell is this? Good morning, 14. Is this a Mario? Ghost. I have to... Dole man, skip me. Give me a skip. This is Fez. Is this the Fez guy from Fez? I don't know what his name is. Fez. It's the Fez man from Fez. John Fez. Could you imagine? Fez and video games. Skip me. It's definitely the Fez. Look, 4 average guess attempts. No one knows the name of this character. Gomez. It takes everyone 4 guesses because everyone knows what this is, but no one knows the name. PvP, VE, farming, fishing, looting. PvP, VE, farming, fishing. Rust? Oh, that's actually a good guess. I wasn't even thinking. Daisy. It's fucking Daisy. Daisy in 20... It's not Daisy. Hunger... Airdrop, loot, base building, hunger system, map editor. Fallout 76? No. Workshop sandbox? Surely it would not be Gary's mod, right? That's all I can think of when I see ragdoll physics. Zombies, sleep mechanic, ragdoll workshop, vehicles, hunger system, base building. It's not Rust. I feel like I've played one of these. With the airdrop, but I can't for the life of me remember. Could you imagine it was a scrap mechanic? Oh my god, it's not even on this thing. 7 Days to Die. I've not played that. Permadeath inventory skills progression. Zomboid? Yeah, thank you, Open World Survival! Free to play, low poly. It's like on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember the name of it. I don't know. I give up. Anyone have any guesses? Unturned. That's the one I was thinking of, but I don't think it is that, because the cover doesn't look like this. Never mind. What do I know? It is Unturned. Okay, give me a... Don't do Portal 2. Give me a Portal... Don't give me a Portal 2. Give me... Stardew Valley. How about that? Give me a Stardew Valley. Older. Give me a Portal 2. Older. Partially in first person. Action, science fiction, or comedy. Partially in first person. Older than Portal 2. Action. Give me a Witcher. Is Witcher partially in first person? Can you swap? Okay, it's only on PC. It's not any of those. It's a simulator. Maybe. First person. Older than 2007. What about one of the Elder Scrolls? Maybe. But it's co-op or multiplayer. Thank you. Halo? But Halo's on console. Quake? Is Quake on console? But it might be a simulator. Oh my god, hold on, I need a tissue. Ugh. Thank you. She sneezed twice, it's fucking over. I'm gonna do a Quake and see. But it's not purely first person. So I don't know if Quake applies to that. Oh my god, why is the picture so long? I just sneezed the fucking third time. CNC Renegade? No, that would be a pocket pick, huh? CN Command and Conquer. Is it Command and Conquer Renegade? Okay, it's first and third person. It's single player and multiplayer. It's not a shooter. Let's use a hint. Action, comedy, open world. First and third person. Comedy? Single player, multiplayer. Between 2002 and 1996. Saints Row? Oh my god, that's actually a very good guess. But not a shooter. Oh, that's right, it's not a shooter. It's not isometric, so I don't think it's Fallout. It's first or third person. And it's on PC. We can do Brutal Legend and see if we can find anything else out. What are the hints again? It's on PC. It's action, comedy, open world. It's single player and multiplayer, and it's first person and third person between 2002 and 1996. Windows and Mac, guys. Did you see the demo for Parasite Mutant? No. Black and white. No. I have no idea. Comedy? Neverwinter? Holy shit. There was what I was 2002? Never mind. What about just Neverwinter? Is that newer? Music's loud as fuck. God damn, Fairy Fountain. Also, I think MMO is a separate category, right? Neverwinter is newer. Okay, never mind. Might and Magic? Oh my god. Why are there so many? I just sent Heroes of Might and Magic to Carmageddon! Oh my god. I never would have guessed this. Don't drive over the sheep, man. I'm gonna be real upset. The theme is action, not the genre. I don't know why that's two different things, but whatever. Okay, I'm getting Bandle up. Hold on, the Nintendo music was still playing. Oh, my nose is all stuffy. Rise of the Triad. I have no idea. Doom. There's no Doom? Give me a random Mega Man. How about that? What do I guess? Oh, there we go. Well, I guess I can just skip. Rise of the Robots. No. Feels very like Zelda or RPG-esque, doesn't it? Constant cravings? Constant cravings. No. I have no idea. Hey, you've. Hello, hello. Reveal info. Ninja Gaiden. Oh man. Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. Is there a way to play like yesterday's? There was a way to do it. Oh, that's how you go into full screen. I don't know. I feel like there was a way to guess the previous ones. I don't remember. Comment, share, theater mode. Oh, that would have been nice. Okay, well. Can I be honest with you guys? I had a dream that I played League recently. Mana ranged, female, older than, okay, Lux. Newer than 2010. Nightmare? One of the two, middle or support. Oriana? Oh. I'm so close. Mid laner, 2011. Female ranged. Syndra? I think Syndra's newer than 2011. Okay, Iona? Dude, how am I so close? Iona ranged mid laner. Female. Female ranged mid laner from Ionia. Ari? Is Ari Ionia? Oh my god. Quote. What is the incantation again? Yes, oh, right. R. Ziggs? This feels like a very Ziggs line. No. There's lots of Xenoblade music in this mix. It's kind of nice. Incantation. Rise? It's like an old Rise line. What? Who else is a mage? Lux? Morgana. I don't think Morgana would ever say that. Incantation. Annie? No. Annie's like, beaten by a little girl. Ah. Karthus. That'd be crazy. Oh my god, you were right.
What's the incantation again? It's oh, right.
Which champion has this ability? What is that? What is that? Is that a braid? Wait! That's Kane! Oh my god, it's turned to the side! Ah! It's like, is that a braid? Oh my god, it is! Emoji. Surfboard. Talia, unfortunately. Next. Which champion? This is, is that a hammer? Is this... I don't think this is Jace. Jace's has a lighter background. Is it Darius? No. What am I looking at? Aatrox? You think? No. I'm so fixated on this weapon here. No, it's not. Oh my god, did you guys see that they just made Aatrox again? Sion. Ooh, Sion's actually a really good guess. No. It's so fucking hard to see anything. Swain. I don't think it's Swain. Because Swain doesn't have like a big weapon, he just has a cane. Tryndamere? I don't... No, Tryndamere is like a snowy background. Yorick? If it's counting skins... What?! It is Yorick. It's just Yorick. My god. Anyway, did you see that the newest champ is literally just old Aatrox again for some fucking reason? They were like, oh, we can't figure out how to balance old Aatrox. We're gonna have to make him Riven again. And then they just make a new character that's just Aatrox again. Anyway, kind of made me mad. Okay, let's try Pokedoku so you guys can make fun of me. Because I'm not very good at Pokedoku. Okay. What's Galar region again? Can you just tell me what gen that is? Galar. Is that the newest? No, that's the second newest, isn't it? No. Galarian. Yes. Galarian Wheezing. Yeah, okay. So, Grookey. Give me a Grookey, please. Galar Ghost. Evolved by item. Grass. Evolved by item Ghost. Evolved by item Poison. Cursula? Cursula. I love Corsola! Is it actually Ghost? Corsola Galar. Oh, it's so sad. It got eaten by a Marini, no doubt. Could we just do Leafeon? For this? Yeah. Evolved by item Ghost. Evolved by item Poison. Dark Grass. Pumpkaboo is Ghost, right? It's not Dark. It's Grass Ghost. Dark Ghost. Dark Poison. Okay, surely Wheezing is still Poison. Yeah. Chestnut? Oh my god. Okay, let me try getting these two before I put in your solutions. I'm not very good at this, but I got 3 by myself today. That's pretty good. All things considered. Evolved by item Ghost. Chestnut is grass fighting. Oh. Stone. Poison. I have no idea about item evolutions, to be honest. Grass, dark. Dark Ghost. Dark Poison. Guys, I'm terrible at this. I give up. Let me see. Oh, you're right. Shiftry. Spiritomb, Ghost Dark, Poison Dark, Drapion, Toxel, Dusknoir, Vileplume. Wow. Hey, but I got Leafeon and Grookey. A Alolan Executor evolves with an item. I'm committing this to my memory banks. Oh, Gengar counts as an item evo? I wouldn't have counted it as an item evo. It evolves by trade! What the heck? Can you evolve it with an item in some games? Linking Cord. Man! It made me mad. It's an item in Arceus. Okay, fair enough. Anyway. Let's do one quick round of Breath of the Wild GeoGuessr, and then I'm done. Because I sneezed 3 times, and now my nose is stuffy again. Okay, we are somewhere probably around here. Nope. Maybe? Oh my god. I think I might be right. I think we might be. Is that a bridge? No, it's not. It's not a bridge. But that's the Colosseum. So we were probably right around here somewhere. That's more trees than is on in front of us though. And there's also this weird hill. I think we're somewhere around here. That's the Great Plateau. And that tower is here. So we can use that to orient ourselves. Are we like here? Oh, so this is definitely Xenoblade music, isn't it? No, that's Professor Layton. Okay, sorry, my bad. This is too far up north. We're not that far north. Oh, and the path is going up. Are we, like, here? I don't think so. We're further up, surely. Where are these trees? Driving me insane. Amazing view. Okay, so we're along this path for sure. Oh, right here. I'll check us out with that thing. I'm gonna say we're right here. 36 meters! Not bad. Did take me a little while though. Okay. Varuta is there. Straight to the west. So we are likely somewhere around here. That's the cliff, right? Is there? Yeah, that is the path. I think we are around here. Do I just lock it in? I'm just gonna lock it in. 92! There's two things Myra knows, Breath of the Wild map and gambling. Apparently I know the Breath of the Wild map, and this actually put me in front of the game and I probably can't figure out shit. So we are along the east coast. It's gonna be a bit tricky to find exactly where we are, because usually there's like two places that you can immediately tell, like this. And maybe... I'm not sure. I'm gonna start moving. I cannot move any further. Okay, so we're not all the way to the south. And there is a very large mountain. Hi, Lord Gun. What's up? Yeah, I don't know. What is over there? Is this the maze? But then we'd be very far north. I don't believe it for 1 second. What is going on over here? This is some very steep cliffs that wouldn't lend themselves to the maze. I think if we were here, we'd see this, though. I'm gonna go further inland. Hinox, hello. Hinox means... Nothing, actually. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're cooking. We've got some water. But it doesn't go into the sea. So could we be here, right outside Zora's domain? I think that checks out, actually. I think we could be right outside Zora's domain. Because these are very slick walls, and you can't climb them. The question is... where are we? Because I feel like... we're not here. We're not here. God, I honestly have no idea where we are. We're somewhere around here, I would say. Could we be here? But, there's only one tree here. No, there's multiple. But it kind of goes down? Oh my god, why is it so awkward? It feels more like Tears of the Kingdom right now. Oddly enough. But this is Breath of the Wild. You know what? I don't know. I don't know. Are we here? I wish I could fucking move. I think we are here right now. Are we though? This mountain's really high up. Or are we right against Zora's domain over here? It looks like we're kind of right up against it, doesn't it? There's no laser! I don't see a laser! So I don't know what those little islands are, unless those are these? I don't know. I'm just gonna say we're here. Oh! I wasn't as far away as I thought I would be with this guess. Not too bad. Okay. Well, I think we're probably somewhere over here. Oh, this is gonna be tough. I don't think I'm gonna be able to pinpoint where we are in here. Going west brought us out to a clearing. I definitely don't think we're up here. I think we are near the, this place. The question is... let me zoom out, goddammit. The question is, how do we get in there? This is a path, technically. I wish I could see the laser. No laser here. I think it's safe to assume that this is the big mountain. Right up against it? What? That's the fuck-ass Lydell to the east where you fight the water dragon. You are absolutely correct, Chutton. Holy shit. Well... Oops. Okay, this is New Groen City, surely. Absolute nightmare. There's the tower. I don't actually know where the tower is in relation to Groen City, but we are south of the volcano, so I think we are here, actually. Now, can I get a bit closer? That's always the question. Go through the Valley of Death, watch the memory, bam, Lionel. I think we might be right here. Maybe. Oh, we are a bit further. Okay, what a horrible round. I mean, a couple of the guesses were actually really close, but this one in the middle has tainted my record, and I will now go into hiding. I will now go into hiding forever. Jokes aside, I am gonna call it here. I have a headache coming on, I think. I sneezed 3 times, and now I'm dying. But I hope you guys enjoyed this shorter stream. I hope you guys had fun. I'll be back tomorrow. We're gonna play some more Peace Walker finally. We've taken a longer break from it, but I am back. I am ready. I am back to go back to it. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play some Peace Walker tomorrow. Hope you guys had fun. This was a very chill stream. Not really much going on. We were just hanging out. But tomorrow, we're going back to pew pew AI terrorism action. It's gonna be a lot of fun, hopefully, and hopefully not as sad. But we will see. We will see, eh? We will see. My big boss, my little meow meow. Okay. Kita is live. You could rate Kita instead of Luna again. I will see you all tomorrow, same time tomorrow. We're gonna raid my good friend Kita. He's playing some Dispatch right now. I think he's attempting to finish the game today. So beware of spoilers if you still want to play the game yourself. Now go nap. Oh, I might. I might lie down and at least read for a bit, but yeah. Same Myra time, same Moore's channel. That's right! I hope you guys had fun today. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Thank you also to the supporters over on Patreon, Kita, Metro Melo, Shat, Ultra One, TKL, Zeus guys, Kekra Fusa, Isaac, Tempted, Ticket Yarn, Amari Sock, Fifth and Estra. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you want to support me outside of Twitch, go check out the Patreon. I do exclusive Discord Patreon streams that are available there as VODs. I post my art there. You can go check it out. Are you gonna post the art you showed us at the start of stream? Yeah, I already posted the new Orman art this morning before I went live. It's on my Twitter and Blue Sky. Okay, I will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good rest of your Thursday. You're almost at the end of the week. Push through. You can do it. Bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye.